For a time, Paul McCartney and John Lennon felt like two halves of the same whole, an unmatched songwriting duo at the heart of the Beatles. Together, they created timeless music, but as fame and pressure intensified, the bond that once defined them began to fracture. By the end, the band was already drifting into four separate creative paths. Lennon, McCartney, and George Harrison had each developed distinct voices, and when the Beatles finally split, it seemed like a natural, if painful, evolution. But the past wasn't so easily left behind. In their solo careers, all four members revisited the band in different ways, sometimes with nostalgia, sometimes with bitterness. While George Harrison and Ringo Starr reflected on the group in their own songs, and Lennon fired back with the sharp "How Do You Sleep?", McCartney's focus often returned to one person, Lennon himself. More than a bandmate, Lennon was a creative partner, a rival, and a brother figure. Whether driven by admiration, frustration, or unresolved emotion, McCartney continued to write songs that carried Lennon's presence, sometimes subtle, sometimes direct. The result is a body of work filled with tension, affection, and honesty, songs that capture a relationship too deep to simply disappear. Below are the songs Paul McCartney wrote about John Lennon, a lasting reflection of one of music's most complex and enduring partnerships. Number 8. Hey Jude.
Hey Jude, don't make it bad.
We thought we'd begin with one of the most debated entries on the list. Hey Jude is undeniably one of the most iconic songs by the Beatles, filled with warmth, reassurance, and a sense of emotional protection. Paul McCartney famously wrote it for Julian Lennon, hoping to comfort the young boy as his parents' marriage fell apart, while John Lennon pursued a new chapter in his life. But, as with many things involving Lennon, there was another interpretation. Lennon later suggested that, intentional or not, the song felt like it was directed at him. Hearing the lyrics through his own lens, especially during his relationship with Yoko Ono, he believed McCartney was sending a subtle, almost subconscious message. Lines like "Go out and get her" took on a dual meaning: encouragement on the surface, but perhaps also a quiet acknowledgement of a partnership slipping away. Whether imagined or real, it gives the song a deeper emotional complexity. Number 7. Silly Love Songs.
You think that people wouldn't have enough of silly love songs?
Following a period of distance, John Lennon and Paul McCartney managed to reconnect in the mid-1970s. Their friendship showed signs of healing, with the two even spending time together and coming close to an impromptu reunion. Still, old creative tensions never fully disappeared. Lennon had long been critical of Paul McCartney's songwriting style, often dismissing it as overly sentimental. Rather than shy away from the criticism, McCartney embraced it head-on, with Silly Love Songs. The track acts as both a response and a statement, playful on the surface, but rooted in defiance. By asking what's wrong with that, McCartney wasn't just defending his music, he was reaffirming his place in a partnership that had always thrived on contrast. Number 6. Man, We Was Lonely.
Man, we was lonely. Yes, we was lonely.
In the aftermath of the Beatles' breakup, it became clear that McCartney felt increasingly isolated. However, Man, We Was Lonely suggests that those feelings had already begun to surface even before the band officially ended. Written during the group's final turbulent period and later released on his 1970 solo album, the song plays like a personal reflection. It captures the emotional distance growing within the band, as well as McCartney's own perspective on the situation, especially his strained dynamic with Lennon. Rather than address the conflict publicly, McCartney used the song as a quiet form of expression, offering listeners a glimpse into the tension behind the scenes. Number 5. Too Many People.
Too many people going underground. Too many.
If Man We Was Lonely hinted at unease, then Too Many People made things far more explicit. Taken from the album Ram, it's widely seen as a direct shot at John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Beneath its polished sound lies a pointed critique, with lyrics that subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, challenge their choices and outlook. Lennon himself picked up on the references and responded in kind with How Do You Sleep, escalating the exchange into a musical back and forth. It was a moment that revealed just how intertwined their creative and personal lives still were, even in conflict. Number 4. Three Legs.
I lay me down. Will my love love me still?
Ram offered more than just one pointed moment. On Three Legs, McCartney channels the frustration of a man who suddenly found himself on the outside of a group he helped define. By 1971, he was widely viewed as the figure behind the breakup of the Beatles, a narrative that weighed heavily on him. The song reflects that tension, aimed broadly at the band, but with clear undertones directed at Lennon. After years of shared success, the dynamic had drastically shifted. Through Three Legs, McCartney voices that sense of betrayal, making it clear he hadn't accepted the role he'd been given. Number 3. Dear Friend.
Dear friend, what's the time?
By the time McCartney formed Wings, the tone of his songwriting began to soften. Dear Friend stands out as one of the most direct and personal reflections on his relationship with Lennon. Where earlier songs carried frustration, this one leans toward reconciliation. It feels like a letter set to music, measured, reflective, and sincere. McCartney no longer sounds defensive or combative. Instead, he seems to be searching for understanding. In many ways, it marks the first genuine attempt to rebuild what had been lost. Number 2. Let Me Roll It. Often compared to Lennon's Cold Turkey, Let Me Roll It sparked debate among critics who noted its stylistic similarities. Some described it as a clear nod or even an imitation of Lennon's raw, stripped-back approach. McCartney, however, rejected that idea. For him, the resemblance spoke to something deeper, the shared creative instincts that had defined their partnership for years. Even in separation, those instincts remained, and whether intentional or not, the song serves as a reminder that their musical identities were never entirely independent of one another. Number 1. Here Today.
If you were here today,
There is no ambiguity. Written after the death of John Lennon in 1980, it stands as McCartney's most direct and emotional tribute to his friend. Structured as an imagined conversation, the song allows McCartney to say the things left unsaid, asking questions, offering reflections, and ultimately expressing a love that had often gone unspoken. It is both a tribute and a form of closure. Stripped of ego and rivalry, what remains is honesty, raw and unguarded. More than any other song on this list, Here Today captures the essence of their relationship, complicated, deeply personal, and impossible to replace.